Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you really asked for what you wanted? Not hinted, not hoped, not waited, but stood in your truth and asked. Most people go through life waiting to be noticed, waiting to be offered, waiting to be chosen. But here's the hard truth. Life doesn't just happen to those who wait. Life responds to those who ask. You see, asking is more than just making a request. It's an act of courage. It's a declaration of worth. It's the moment you stop whispering to the universe and start speaking your needs out loud. But somewhere along the way we were taught not to ask. Maybe someone made you feel selfish for wanting more. Maybe you learned it was safer to stay quiet. Maybe you were told, good things come to those who wait. But that's only half the truth. The full truth is this. Good things come to those who wait and ask, and follow up, and advocate, and persist. This audiobook is about reclaiming that lost art. The art of asking bravely. The art of asking intelligently. The art of asking strategically. And yes, the art of asking unapologetically. Because when done right, asking is not begging. It's not manipulation. It's not desperation. It's empowerment. It's alignment. It's a bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Over the next 10 chapters, you'll learn how to silence the voice that says, you don't deserve it. Ask for help without guilt. Set boundaries without shame. Communicate your needs with clarity and confidence. Get more yes, not through luck or charm but through skill and intention. You'll hear real-world techniques grounded in psychology, communication science, and lived human experience. You'll reflect deeply, practice boldly, and maybe even change the way you see yourself and the world around you. This is not just about getting what you want. It's about becoming someone who knows they can. And it all starts here. Welcome to the art of asking. Not just a book but a mindset. Not just a strategy but a revolution. One question at a time. Chapter 1, The Power of the Ask. Let's begin with something simple but radical. Everything you want in life is already on the other side of an ask. Let that land for a moment. The job, the raise, the opportunity, the help, the love, the peace, the forgiveness, the freedom. All of it starts with one moment of bravery, the moment you ask. But most people, they never ask. Why? Because we were taught that asking is selfish, that it makes us needy, that we should be grateful with what we have, that we should wait our turn, stay quiet, earn it, deserve it, or worse, prove we've suffered enough to be worthy of help. But the truth is this. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you ask for. The story of silence. Let me tell you a story. A young woman, smart, hardworking, spent 3 years in a company, always over-delivering, always staying late. She kept thinking they'll notice. They'll reward me. But year after year, she watched her coworkers get promoted. She grew resentful, bitter, invisible. Finally, in frustration, she asked her boss why she was being overlooked. He looked at her and said something she never forgot. I didn't know you wanted it. You never asked. Here's the lesson. The world is not psychic. People don't know what you need until you say it. Closed mouths don't get fed. Closed hearts don't get held. Closed minds don't get heard. So if you've ever thought to yourself, why hasn't anyone helped me? The question is, have I ever clearly asked for help? The transactional truth of life. Now let's get real. Life is transactional. That's not a bad thing, it's just how energy flows. When you give and never ask, you drain. When you want and never ask, you ache. When you need and don't ask, you suffer. You're not here to suffer. You're here to co-create your life. And co-creation requires participation. You have to step in and ask for your part of the magic. Why people actually want to say yes. Here's something beautiful. People like to help. People want to feel needed, useful, generous. They just need to know how. Asking gives others the opportunity to be part of your story. To say yes. To say, I can help with that. You rob them of that gift when you don't ask. What happens when you start asking? When you start asking, really asking, you begin to feel a shift. You become less passive, less resentful, less powerless. You start realizing that many of the limits in your life were self-imposed. And the walls? They weren't walls at all. They were doors, waiting for you to knock. But let's be honest, asking can be scary. Let's not sugarcoat it. Asking makes you vulnerable. You risk rejection. You risk being seen. You risk hearing no. But here's the beautiful paradox. Every time you ask, even if the answer is no, you grow. You stretch your voice. You expand your courage. You begin to own your life. And every yes? That's not luck. That's earned alignment. A practical thought experiment. Right now, take a breath and think of something, one thing, you've been wanting. Got it? Now ask yourself, who has the power to help me with this? Have I actually asked them? Have I asked clearly, directly, confidently? If not, what are you waiting for? The power is in your hands. The ask is your magic wand. It's how you bend reality. It's how you tell the universe, I am ready. I am willing. I am open. You don't have to scream. You don't have to beg. You just have to ask. With courage, with clarity, and with faith. Because asking is not demanding. It's not begging. It's declaring. And you are allowed to declare what you want. Chapter 2. Why we're afraid to ask. Let's slow things down for a moment. You want more from life, whether that's love, success, clarity, opportunity, or simply help, but you feel blocked. You hesitate. You talk yourself out of it. You stay silent. What? Let's explore the truth that no one talks about enough. Most people don't get what they want, not because they're not worthy, but because they're afraid to ask. 1. The fear of rejection. This is the big one. At the root of almost every hesitation is the fear of hearing no. Rejection stings. It always has. It's wired into us from early childhood, when being rejected by our tribe could literally mean death. So even today, when you consider asking for a raise, initiating a difficult conversation, or even asking someone out, you freeze. Because on a deep level, your brain thinks, if they say no, I'll feel small. I'll feel unworthy. I'll feel like I don't matter. But let me offer a reframe. A no is not a personal indictment. It's just information. Might mean, not right now. Not this way. Not from this person. And every no is one step closer to a yes. But if you don't ask, you're living in your own rejection by default. 2. The fear of being a burden. Many people, especially those who are kind, empathetic, or emotionally sensitive, struggle with this one. You think, I don't want to bother them. They're probably busy. I should be able to do this on my own. But that's not self-reliance. That's self-abandonment. What if asking isn't a burden, but a bridge? What if asking someone for help, support, or a favor actually makes them feel valuable too? People want to help. People want to give. They just need a clear invitation. 3. The fear of looking weak or needy. In a world obsessed with independence and self-sufficiency, asking is often seen as weakness. We glorify the lone wolf, the self-made person, the one who does it all without help. But here's the truth. No one does it alone. Every successful person you admire asked. They asked for mentorship. They asked for resources. They asked for advice, for funding, for introductions, for second chances. Asking doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're aware of your needs and bold enough to express them. True strength is not about doing everything yourself. It's about knowing when and how to ask for what moves you forward. 4. The fear of losing control. This one's sneaky. Asking means surrendering the outcome. It means putting your desire in someone else's hands, if only for a moment. And for those of us who like control, this can feel terrifying. Because when you ask, you open yourself to an answer you can't control. And that vulnerability, that uncertainty, it's uncomfortable. But discomfort is the birthplace of growth. To live a bigger life, you have to take emotional risks. And the biggest risk is letting go of control long enough to allow someone else in. 5. The fear of not deserving it. This one goes deeper than fear. It lives in the realm of worth. If deep down you believe you're not worthy of love, of money, of happiness, of help, then asking feels like a lie, like a fraud, like you're crossing some line you're not supposed to. But hear me now, you are worthy. You are not too much. You are not asking for too much. Your needs, your wants, your dreams, they are valid. They are sacred. And the only permission you ever needed was your own. Where it all begins, childhood conditioning. Most of our fear around asking didn't begin in adulthood. Think back. As a child, were you told, don't be greedy? Stop asking so many questions? You should be grateful for what you have? We don't talk about money? That's just the way it is? You were trained, sometimes lovingly, sometimes not, to keep your desires quiet, to not rock the boat, to not seem ungrateful, to not ask for more. But those lessons? They were given to a child who didn't know better. You're not that child anymore. Now you have the power to rewire those beliefs. The truth you need to hear. The fears are real, but they are not permanent, and they are not you. Here's the real truth. Most of what you want is on the other side of a conversation you haven't had yet. And while asking may feel risky, staying silent is far riskier. Because when you don't ask, you miss opportunities. You settle for less. You build quiet resentment. you stay stuck. But when you do ask, authentically, clearly, and courageously, everything begins to shift. People respond. Doors open. Life meets you at your level of boldness. Your inner mission: break the pattern. You've been conditioned to fear asking. Now it's time to train yourself to love it. Over the next chapters, you'll learn the strategies, psychology, and language of powerful asking. But first, let this truth settle into your bones. You are allowed to ask. You are worthy of receiving. And the world responds to those who dare to raise their hand. So, are you ready to raise yours? Let's continue. Chapter 3. Clarity. Know what you want first. Before you can ask for what you want, you have to know what you want. That might sound obvious, but in reality, it's where most people fail. We spend so much of our lives chasing approval, security, or someone else's definition of success, that we forget to pause and ask, what do I actually want? Not what your parents wanted. Not what society told you to want. Not what looks good on a resume. But what you, in your deepest truth, actually desire. Let's go there. Section 1. The cost of vagueness. When you don't know what you want, 3 things happen. You settle for less. You hesitate to ask at all. When you do ask, your request sounds weak, confused, or uncertain. Imagine walking into a restaurant and saying, "Oh, I'm hungry but I don't know what for. Just bring me something." You'd be at the mercy of whatever they choose. Now imagine doing that with your entire life. That's what unclear goals do to you. Clarity is power. Clarity attracts results. Clarity makes people listen. When you speak with certainty, others feel it. They trust it. They respond to it. So let's work on getting that clarity together. Section 2. Surface wants versus core desires. A lot of people think they want a raise, a car, a bigger apartment. But what they really want is what those things represent. More freedom. More recognition. More peace. So ask yourself, what's underneath what I think I want? Here's a simple exercise. Take a goal, say, I want a promotion. Then ask, and if I had that, what would that give me? Keep asking that question, 5 to 7 layers deep. Eventually you'll reach the core. Maybe you don't want the promotion. You want to feel valued, or safe, or seen. That's where your real ask lives. When you know the real desire, you can ask more intelligently. You may even realize the thing you thought you needed isn't the only path to get it. Section 3. Get specific. The brain needs targets. Your brain is like a GPS. If you type in somewhere nice, it can't help you. You need an address. So instead of saying, I want more time, say, I want 2 free evenings a week to spend with my family, without screens or work interruptions. Instead of, I want to be happier, say, I want to start my mornings with 30 minutes of quiet journaling and a walk. Specific asks get specific results. Vague asks go ignored, by both people and the universe. Section 4. Clarity exercise, the mirror test. Let's do a quick but powerful exercise. Imagine looking in a mirror. You can see yourself clearly. Now imagine the mirror fogs up. That's what it feels like to live without clarity. So here's how we clear the fog. Answer these 5 prompts, honestly, without editing. If I could ask for anything right now without fear or shame, I would ask for, I feel most alive when I am. I keep telling myself I should want underscore 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 underscore, but deep down I really want. If I weren't afraid of being judged, I'd ask for. Success to me means, pause, reflect. Write these down if you're able. This is the beginning of knowing what to ask for, and how to ask for it. Section 5. Eliminate the maybes. Clarity isn't just about choosing what you want. It's also about letting go of what you don't. Too many people live in maybe land. I guess I could do that. It's not ideal, but it's okay. I don't hate it. That kind of lukewarm energy keeps you stuck. So ask yourself, what am I tolerating that I don't actually want? What am I saying yes to just because it's there? Eliminate the maybes. Commit to the hell yes or the no. Only then can you make bold, clear asks. Section 6. Build a clarity ritual. Clarity isn't one big epiphany. It's a practice. So here's a simple ritual you can do weekly. Every Sunday or a day of your choosing, sit down with a notebook. Ask, what do I want this week? Emotionally, financially, relationally, professionally. Review your answers and translate each one into a specific ask. For example, want to feel more supported? Ask your partner for help with a task. Want more visibility at work? Ask your manager for a meeting. Want time for yourself? Ask your calendar to open up 2 hours. This habit of clarity makes asking a natural part of your life. Section 7. Trust yourself. Many of us hesitate to claim what we want because we doubt ourselves. We think, what if I ask for the wrong thing? What if I change my mind later? That's okay. You're allowed to evolve. Desires change. Clarity grows. But you can't wait for 100% certainty to move forward. Trust that you know enough right now. Ask from here. Then adjust as you go. You can't get closer to what you want by staying silent. Closing this chapter. To ask with power, you must first see with power. See your needs. See your desires. See your worth. The clearer your inner vision, the louder your voice becomes. So don't just want. Know what you want. Say it. Claim it. And in the next chapter, we'll learn how to persuade others to say yes. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Persuasion. Asking is an art, yes, but it's also a science. If you want to get what you want, consistently, you need to understand how people make decisions. Why do people say yes? What makes someone open their heart, their wallet, their calendar, or their mind? The answer lies in persuasion psychology, the subtle, powerful science behind human influence. And no, this isn't about manipulation. It's about alignment, making your request feel like a win for them, not just for you. Let's dive into the core psychological principles that make an ask not just acceptable, but irresistible. 1. The principle of reciprocity. People are wired to return favors. If you do something for someone, help them, compliment them, support them, they naturally feel the urge to return the gesture. Example. Offer help before you ask for it. Be generous with your time, attention, or value. Then, when the time comes to ask for something, they're far more likely to say yes. Not because they owe you, but because they want to. If you want people to say yes, give first, and give genuinely. But be careful, reciprocity only works when it's authentic. If your kindness has strings attached, people feel it, and shut down. 2. The foot in the door technique. Start small, then build. Studies show that if someone agrees to a small request, they're far more likely to say yes to a larger one later. Why? Because they've already said yes once, and the human brain craves consistency. Real-world example. Ask for feedback on a project. Later, ask for support or a resource to help implement the feedback. You've already gotten a yes. Now you've opened the door. This technique is powerful in business, relationships, and negotiation, because once someone is emotionally or cognitively invested, they're more likely to stay on board. 3. The power of mirroring. People trust people who feel familiar. Mirroring is the subtle act of aligning your body language, tone, or even language patterns with the person you're speaking to. Psychologically, mirroring activates a sense of safety and rapport. It tells the brain, this person is like me. How to use it? If they're calm, speak calmly. If they use certain words or phrases, reflect them back. Match energy levels subtly, not obviously. Done with care, mirroring can create instant connection and make your ask feel like a shared goal, not a demand. 4. Authority and social proof. People are more likely to say yes when they perceive you as credible, or when others have already said yes. Authority is about showing you know what you're talking about. Social proof is about showing that others trust you too. Use both wisely. Examples. Share testimonials or results, social proof. Reference experience or credentials, authority. Use phrases like, I've helped others in your position, or here's what's worked well in similar situations. It's not about bragging. It's about creating confidence, in you, in your request, and in the outcome. 5. Emotional priming. Before someone says yes, they must feel safe and emotionally ready. Humans don't make decisions logically. We decide based on emotion, then justify it with logic. That's where emotional priming comes in. How to do it? Share a story before the ask. Evoke a feeling, curiosity, hope, relief, trust. Paint a picture of what's possible if they say yes. You're not just asking for a favor. You're offering a transformation, no matter how small. 6. The contrast effect. The brain makes decisions through comparison. When something seems easier or better in contrast to something else, it feels like a win. Use this technique like this. If you're going to make a big ask, start with a slightly bigger one, then scale it down. Suddenly, the real ask feels more reasonable. Example. Ask for a 30-minute meeting. If they hesitate, say, even 15 would be amazing. Ask for $5,000 in funding, then scale it down to $3,500 if needed. It feels like a concession, not a demand. The perception of value matters as much as the request itself. 7. Scarcity and urgency. We want what's limited. We move faster when time is short. But be careful, false urgency feels manipulative. Authentic scarcity feels valuable. Examples. I'm offering this to just 3 people this month. I'd love your support, but I need to finalize things by Friday. When time or opportunity is limited, people act faster, because the brain hates missing out. 8. The power of choice. Nobody likes being cornered. When you give people options, they feel in control, and are far more likely to choose one of them. Instead of, "Can you help me with this?" say, "Would it be easier for you to help me with A or B?" This turns a binary yes/no into a collaborative decision. You're not just asking, you're co-creating. 9. The yes ladder, stack momentum. Here's a trick used by the world's best persuaders. Get the person saying yes to small things first. Acknowledge agreement points. Build micro yes. By the time you get to the big ask, they've already said yes 5 times. It feels natural. It feels earned. Try this. Do you agree that this matters? Would you like to see a solution? If it's easy to do, would you be open to trying? Now you've built a yes ladder. The final yes is just one more step. 10. Timing is everything. Even the perfect ask falls flat at the wrong time. Persuasion is as much about when as it is about how. Don't ask when they're stressed. Don't ask when you haven't built rapport. Don't ask right after delivering bad news. Learn to read the room. Look for emotional openness. Create a window of yes energy. Sometimes, the most persuasive thing you can do is wait. Final thoughts on persuasion. You're not here to pressure. You're here to invite. Persuasion isn't about forcing a yes. It's about removing the reasons for no. It's about showing the other person, this isn't just good for me. It's good for you too. And when you align logic, emotion, timing, and intention, people say yes, not because they were persuaded, but because they were seen. And that's the most powerful ask of all. Chapter 5. The language of asking, words that work. Words are not just tools, they're instruments. And when asking for something important, the language you use can be the difference between a confident yes and an uncomfortable no. Asking isn't begging. It's not demanding either. It's an invitation, a bridge between your intention and someone else's capacity to support it. The language of asking must be clear, respectful, and emotionally intelligent. You're not just making a request, you're managing perception, emotion, and expectation in just a few words. The most effective askers speak with clarity. Instead of saying, "I was wondering if maybe you could help me," try, "Would you be open to helping me with this task?" The second phrasing is direct but courteous, leaving space for autonomy while still asserting your desire. Avoid vague language, hedging phrases like sort of, or kind of, or excessive apologizing. Saying "sorry to bother you" frames your ask as a burden. Instead, try, "I appreciate you taking a moment for this." It's subtle but powerful. It positions your request as worthy of their time. Tone matters just as much as wording. A warm, steady tone disarms defensiveness. When people feel emotionally safe, they're more likely to say yes. Even the most confident words fall flat if spoken with nervousness or tension. Practice speaking your ask aloud before making it. Choose a pace that's calm and steady. Smile. Even if they can't see you, it changes your voice. A good ask is a conversation, not a transaction. It's human, not mechanical. Powerful askers also use framing to align their request with the other person's interests. For example, instead of saying, "I need a few days off," say, "Taking these days off will help me return recharged and more productive." You're linking your request to mutual benefit. And one of the most underused but effective techniques? Asking for advice instead of a direct favor. Instead of, "Can you introduce me to your boss?" say, "What's the best way to connect with someone like your boss?" This frames the other person as a guide, not a gatekeeper. Finally, remember this magic phrase. What would it take for this to work? This question invites collaboration instead of resistance. It tells the other person, "I value your perspective. I'm open to negotiation. I want this to be a win for both of us." The best asks don't sound like demands. They sound like solutions waiting to be discovered together. Chapter 6. Asking in relationships, love, boundaries, and support. Asking in relationships is not about being demanding, it's about being clear. The strongest relationships are built on open communication, not mind reading. Yet many people expect their partners, friends, or family members to just know what they need. The problem? Silent expectations often lead to loud disappointments. Whether it's asking for more quality time, emotional validation, or space to breathe, the courage to express your needs honestly is the foundation of emotional safety. Without the ask, resentment begins to take root, and over time, it erodes even the deepest connections. Many of us avoid asking for what we need because we fear being too much or needy. But needing something doesn't make you weak, Denying that need does. Healthy relationships are reciprocal. They require both giving and requesting. If you constantly suppress your needs to keep the peace, you're not building intimacy, you're building a ticking emotional time bomb. In contrast, vulnerability creates connection. Saying, "I feel disconnected, can we talk for a few minutes tonight?" is not an attack, it's an invitation to closeness. Love grows where honesty lives. Boundaries are another form of asking someone to honor your limits. And boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. They allow access but on your terms. Asking for a boundary to be respected isn't selfish, it's self-respect. For example, saying, "I need alone time after work before I can talk about our day," isn't rejection, it's regulation. Boundaries protect your peace and ironically they often improve your relationships. When both people feel safe to ask for space, needs and time, connection becomes easier, not harder. Support is something most of us crave but struggle to request. "I've got it" becomes our default response, even when we're drowning. But asking for help or emotional support doesn't make you a burden. It makes you human. The people who love you want to show up for you, but they can't if you don't tell them how. Start small. "I don't need solutions, I just need you to listen." Or, "Can you check in on me this week? I'm feeling low." Simple asks like these can deepen trust and invite others to feel safe doing the same with you. Finally, remember this: how people respond to your ask tells you a lot about the health of the relationship. Someone who consistently ignores or ridicules your needs is showing you their limits, not yours. Asking is not manipulation, it's an act of honesty. And the right people will honor that honesty. So if you want a thriving relationship, don't just love. Ask. Ask with kindness. Ask with courage. Ask and let yourself be known. Chapter 7. Asking in the workplace: salary, promotions, respect. Let's face it, your workplace is not just a job. It's a playing field where power dynamics, perception, and performance all intersect. Unfortunately, many talented individuals work silently, hoping that recognition, raises, or promotions will just appear because they're doing a good job. But doing great work is not enough. In the professional world, visibility often matters more than effort. You need to advocate for yourself, and that begins with the courage to ask. Whether it's for a salary increase, a new title, or more autonomy, the ask must be strategic, well-timed, and rooted in value. Before you ask for anything at work, preparation is everything. Don't go in empty-handed or emotionally charged. Instead, gather receipts, quantifiable results, testimonials, completed projects, and comparisons from the industry. Asking for a raise isn't about begging for more money. It's about demonstrating your impact. Ask yourself, how has the company benefited because I'm here? Then frame your ask around that. Make it about the value you bring, not the hours you log. Confidence is contagious in these conversations. When you believe in your worth, others are more likely to do the same. Now let's talk about promotions. Many people wait to be tapped on the shoulder, but promotions aren't handouts, they're earned and claimed. One of the smartest moves you can make is to have regular check-ins with your manager where you express your goals. Ask questions like, what would it take to be considered for a leadership role in the next 6 months? Or, which skills do I need to develop to move into a senior position? These kinds of asks don't just plant the seed, they show that you are proactive, growth-minded, and serious. And when a new opportunity arises, you'll already be on their radar. Respect is another area where asking is often neglected. Maybe a colleague constantly interrupts you. Maybe your boundaries are being ignored. Maybe your ideas are dismissed until someone else repeats them. In these cases, asking for respect doesn't have to be confrontational, but it does need to be clear. You might say, I'd appreciate the chance to finish my thought before we move on, or, I've noticed that my contributions are sometimes overlooked. Can we find a better way to collaborate? Speaking up communicates self-worth. Silence often gets interpreted as consent. If you don't ask for respect, you risk normalizing disrespect. Finally, know this: asking in the workplace is not a one-time event, it's a habit. It's not just about asking when you're unhappy, it's about regularly checking in on your growth, your compensation, your workload, and your role. Build the muscle by starting small. Ask for feedback, ask to lead a project, ask to shadow someone in a role you aspire to. The more you ask, the more you'll learn how to read the room, refine your timing, and stand in your power. Remember, your career doesn't just happen to you, you shape it, one bold ask at a time. Chapter 8. The subtle art of asking without asking. Sometimes, the most powerful ask is the one you never voice directly. While words are powerful, your energy, presence, and intention often speak louder. We are constantly broadcasting signals, through body language, attitude, confidence, and even silence. The world, and the people in it, often respond not just to what we say but to what we signal. In this chapter, we'll explore how to magnetize what you want by becoming someone who invites opportunity rather than chases it. Let's start with energetic congruence. People can feel when your words don't match your energy. If you ask for respect while doubting your own worth, the request loses power. But if you carry yourself with calm self-assurance, others pick up on it without you needing to say a word. Think of the person who walks into a room and instantly commands attention, not through loudness but through grounded presence. They're not begging. They're being. That's the art of the silent ask, becoming a living embodiment of your desires. Next, let's talk about positioning. You can create situations where what you want becomes the obvious next step, without having to demand it. For example, in a professional setting, instead of asking for more responsibility outright, you take initiative, show results, and create undeniable value. This often leads others to offer you more without being prompted. Strategic over-delivery becomes an unspoken request for elevation. You're not just waiting for the opportunity, you're framing yourself as the solution to someone else's need. Another powerful tool is curated presence. How you show up online, in social settings, or in conversation sets a tone. By consistently sharing your values, expertise, and passion, people start to associate you with the things you want to attract, whether it's clients, partners, or recognition. This is attraction through alignment. You're not saying, "Please notice me." You're saying, "This is who I am," and letting resonance do the rest. When you live in alignment with your goals, you naturally invite collaboration and support without having to make direct requests. Lastly, we must understand the power of strategic silence. In a world full of noise, silence creates curiosity. When you refrain from asking too soon, you give others space to move toward you. It creates a subtle power dynamic where they lean in, intrigued and engaged. You don't always need to chase answers. Sometimes, by simply holding your ground and creating space, the right offer, opportunity, or support arrives, unprompted. This is not passivity. It's intentional restraint. And it works, especially when combined with clarity, presence, and quiet confidence. Chapter 9, Handling the No, Grace, Grit, and the Next Move. Rejection. For many of us, it feels like failure. It stings. It can embarrass. It can make us question ourselves. But here's a truth most people don't realize. No is not personal. It's a response based on timing, context, resources, or someone else's priorities, not necessarily a reflection of your value or the worthiness of your request. Learning to interpret no as information, not a judgment, is one of the most empowering shifts you can make. It means seeing rejection as redirection, not defeat. When someone says no, don't retreat in shame. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what exactly is being rejected here? Is it the idea, the timing, the way you asked, or something unrelated to you altogether? The key is not to collapse inward but to remain curious. Often a no is just a not now, or not like this. By asking clarifying follow-up questions, like, can you help me understand your decision? Or, is there anything I could change to make this possible in the future? You transform rejection into feedback. And feedback is gold. Handling no with grace means staying calm and respectful even when you feel disappointed. It's about maturity. When you respond to rejection with composure instead of defensiveness or resentment, you build a reputation as someone resilient and emotionally intelligent. This creates long-term trust and leaves the door open for future opportunities. People remember how you react to setbacks more than the request itself. Your grace today could earn you a yes tomorrow. Then there's grit, your ability to bounce back. Grit means deciding that one no doesn't define your path. It means continuing to believe in your goal, even when others don't see it yet. Rejection separates dabblers from doers. When you hear no, let it fuel your refinement, not your retreat. Reevaluate, adapt, learn, then go again stronger. Behind every successful entrepreneur, artist, leader, or changemaker, there's a mountain of rejections. What sets them apart is that they didn't let the no stop the mission. Finally, the next move. Every no gives you three options: pivot, persist, or pass. You can pivot, adjust your request, reframe your approach, or try another avenue. You can persist, stay patient, keep building trust, and circle back later. Or you can pass, decide that this ask wasn't aligned after all, and shift your energy elsewhere. There is power in all three. The art lies in knowing which one to choose, and having the courage to follow through. Every no contains a choice. Choose wisely. And remember, your next yes might be waiting right around the corner. Chapter 10, Becoming an asking master, daily practice. Mastery isn't built in moments of inspiration, it's forged in daily, deliberate practice. Asking is no different. To become someone who naturally and powerfully asks for what they want, you must build the habit of asking. Not just in high-stakes moments like job interviews or salary negotiations, but in everyday life. Ask for help. Ask for clarity. Ask for opportunity. These small daily asks create the confidence and muscle memory you need when the big asks arrive. Start each day with a simple challenge. Ask for something. It doesn't matter what it is: a free coffee, a discount, feedback from a colleague, or even a moment of someone's time. The goal isn't to manipulate or take advantage. It's to practice being brave. Each ask becomes a rep in the gym of life. Some will say yes. Some will say no. Both outcomes are wins. Why? Because the process of asking is what builds your courage, sharpens your language, and rewires your fear of rejection. Keep a journal of your asks. Write down what you asked for, how you asked, what the response was, and how you felt. Over time, you'll notice patterns. You'll start seeing what types of asks come easily to you, and which ones you avoid. You'll spot where your fear still hides. Most importantly, you'll gain proof that the world doesn't fall apart when someone says no. In fact, you'll find that many people are surprisingly willing to help, if only you ask. Also, build a pre-ask ritual. Just like athletes warm up before a game, you should ground yourself before a meaningful ask. This could be a short breathwork session, repeating an empowering mantra, visualizing success, or simply reminding yourself, I am not asking for a favor. I am creating an opportunity for both of us. When your mind is calm and your energy is aligned, your ask will come from a place of confidence, not desperation. Finally, surround yourself with askers. Join communities, masterminds, or circles of people who are also pushing past fear and speaking up for what they want. You'll learn from their successes and failures, and they'll help hold you accountable. Mastery is never a solo journey, it's a supported one. And the more you ask, the more you'll discover that life isn't waiting to say no. It's waiting for you to step forward and claim your yes. You now have the tools. The only thing left is to use them. Ask boldly. Ask wisely. Ask often. And remember, the only thing standing between you and what you want is a question you haven't asked yet.